I have a job where I deal with patients who complain about doctors, and they come and they tell their story.
So you deal with patients
Who complain about doctors.
who complain about doctors.
They have very painful stories.
Very painful stories. I'm like this channel.
Can you say again? Yeah. Shall I start?
Yes, please.
Yeah. I have a job dealing with patients who complain about doctors, and they have very painful stories. Say a doctor that confuses chickenpox for, meningitis for chickenpox, etc. Kid dies the following day, and I get to meet the parents, say 3 months after that happens. So
He's talking about a doctor making a diagnosis for a child that isn't so, and then she is dealing with those parents.
I'm aware, as I deal with them, that that's a story. I'm aware of my own story, where I'm telling myself that is going on, but I cannot help sometimes getting involved in their story and suffering with them, or after the meeting is done. I have trouble sometimes reconciliating the fact that I can see that it's all a story with the fact that I need to believe their stories to be effective in my job. I just would like you to please comment on that.
So you have the idea that you have to believe their stories to be of use to these parents, to these patients. I would question it. In my experience, it doesn't matter what story my children, my grandchildren, the people in my life, if I believe, I disconnect. Without my story, I'm connected. And it doesn't mean I don't hear the story, like I'm speaking in time now, in apparent time now, but not from here. So love speaks the language. Connection, there's a language, and it's in whatever language that you think out of, speak out of. In other words, all of us. If I hear someone's story and believe it, then I'm suffering, as you say. Sometimes you take it home with you. You're believing. So if you tell me a story and I believe this, then, and it's a sad story, and time will say, then I feel, it's like I feel your pain. Isn't that it? You feel it. So the question is, can I really feel your pain? And I'll say it like this: no one can feel my pain. That's mine. You can perceive or imagine what this broken leg or broken body or impassioned story is about. You can project what that would feel like if it were yours. But you're imagining. What I love about separate bodies is that when you hurt, I don't. That's very cool. And what I also love about it is that when I hurt, you don't. You can imagine, again, you can imagine, and there's nothing that isn't. Even physical pain. But you can imagine what I'm feeling, and that's all you're ever going to have of this experience or your child's experience, your partner's, your world, your politics. What you are thinking and believing about that is the cause of your suffering and sometimes your joy. You can't think of any time that it's useful. Suffering is suffering. And my job is just to my job is to make sure that as many people as possible know that this inquiry exists. Not that people use it, or appreciate it, or understand it at all, but my job is to make sure that it's available for anyone that wants to check it out as a way out of suffering.
I've been doing the Judge Your Neighbor sheets, and whenever I've been upset about situations, about people, what tends to happen quite often is I end up by blaming myself, and then I start being in pain with myself, and that's why I don't do the work as often as I should, because I know what's gonna end up. That the problem with that person actually is, oh, I shouldn't have been like this, I shouldn't have blamed that person, actually I'm the one who is doing wrong. And
Yeah, that's how it seems. I would not call that inquiry. That last piece you showed, I would call it second guessing what you haven't had an experience in yet. So what I would suggest is that you find a seasoned facilitator, one that has some experience in the work, and that you take that worksheet to them and sit with them, or you can do it on the phone. We have, at thework.com, we have a helpline that's completely free. And they don't sign you up for a newsletter. It's not, I mean, nothing. They just simply give you the work and help you to get still enough so that your mind doesn't jump into guilt and say, well, that doesn't work. See, that's an unquestioned discussion within yourself, and a discussion is not inquiry. Inquiry is, for example, if I had the thought he doesn't care about me, and I ask, is it true? And he doesn't care about me. Is it true? Yes. You know, this takes stillness. You just get centered and you just will notice the most amazing things. Most amazing things. So I invite you to that stillness and these questions, and to look at that worksheet again, and go to someone that is really experienced and ask for help to support you. You know, at first, the ego, I mean, to use that term, it's got you. Yay! You know, so no problem with inquiry for you. You know, the mind will just say it doesn't work. Have you ever eaten a banana? How many of you have ever had a banana? Okay. So, where's your proof? Where's your proof? How many of you have ever seen an apple or an orange? Where's your proof?
Why would we lie about it? Why would we lie about it?
Well, actually, I don't see you as lying at all. So I'll go further. Where's your proof when I said, have you ever eaten an apple or an orange? You actually saw an apple and an orange in your mind's eye. You all saw it. When I ask you to, how many of you to think of when you were walking into Watkins bookstore, you saw an image, and that's your proof. So the image of a past is creating the illusion of your entire world. And that doesn't make it real. It just, it's like a hypnotic trance. And much more deeply than that. Much, much deeper than that. It's your world. Your world as you see it. So, how many of you have ever seen the sunshine? And where's your proof? In the moment I asked the question, what did you see? Okay, now that was of a past. Okay, so show me a past, one I can believe in. So when you saw that image of sunshine or a banana or an apple or an orange, and you said yes, it wasn't the past that you saw that in. It was the present you saw that in, and in that moment it's past. Okay, simple? So this is how to sit in inquiry. It's like, it's an apple. Is it true? And you get still. You get very still and close your eyes and notice the proof. It's not even air, it's less than that. It's less than less. Unless you can show me proof that the past is real. My mother brings out the baby pictures and says, this is you, and I can see she loves that. But I look at it and I would have to believe it before I could say to you, look, that was me, or that is I. But inquiry is, I'll use the term personal because you're it. You drop deeply in. Sweetheart, you could just live in, is it true, and just never come out. Because everything's in it. And then you could just notice what you notice, and maybe 3 weeks later, you've worked on, is it true? It's a banana, for example. Or maybe just an hour sitting in it, and then just gently, slowly move into notice how you react and what happens when you believe the thought. And then you can go back to the moment, to the first moment that you can recall anything. And that's all the recall you're ever going to find. Want a little fear and terror, get a future. Want a little suffering and guilt, get a past. And so my invitation is to enjoy the roller coaster and just bring it down to a piece of paper. And what came to me years ago was what you were referring to, the Judge and Neighbor worksheet. And in the stillness, I could just see that the mind, it basically takes into I want, I need, I should, they shouldn't, I don't ever want to. There's something wrong with you, not me. And now there's something wrong with me. And so that is a place, that Judge and Neighbor worksheet. It's at thework.com, always free, no newsletter, just push, print, it downloads. And just sit in a situation that was, maybe you've lost someone in your life, and there's still a sadness for you, for example. And you can fill in that Judge and Neighbor worksheet with what you're thinking and believing about that situation, whatever it is that's causing the suffering. And filling in that worksheet is meditation in itself. You have to get really still to see what your thoughts are as you consider that moment in time, that suffering in time. So it takes stillness to even fill in that Judge Your Neighbor worksheet. And so there's no expectation in filling it in whatsoever. Just what arises, what comes to you, what's shown to you through images of the cause of all illusion, the cause of asleepness, the cause of the apparent I. Yes. One that has cancer.
Yeah.
And
you see that how much that person is suffering.
so if I see someone with cancer that's suffering, and I am suffering over their suffering, the cause of that is what I'm thinking and believing about that person, about the cancer, about that situation. And so that is what belongs on a Judge Your Neighbor worksheet. You know, a doctor, I had a test run for cancer, and at my doctor's suggestion, and he called me, and when the test came in, and he said, "Oh, I hate to break the news to you, la da 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 da, but you have cancer, and I want you to get to my office as quickly as possible." And my thought was, I better get there as quickly as possible. This man's got a problem. I mean, obviously, so what would love do? So, yeah. But I can tell you at no time did I have cancer. And I follow the simple direction. What do I have to lose? Certainly not this. So when I see someone that has cancer, the suffering is not the cancer. The suffering is what they're thinking and believing about the cancer, and I understand. I understand the illusion. I understand the cause of all. So that connection is not broken.
I think you're amazing, and I love the work, and it really helped me through a really difficult period. But I notice when I do it, there's like 3 days, 4 days, feeling great, and then it seems like I go back to like the worrying and the catastrophizing over things. And
You know, I love that for you. It shows you what's next to work. And you can suffer, you can work it. In other words, you can take it to inquiry.
that's normal. That's like the process. Is that normal?
Lose what you realize. There's no one that is not realized. There's no one that is not free. But what you're thinking and believing is overriding that. So let's say you do a worksheet, and that's great, and all that realization, and it's just time for the next at some point. That's just a resting period. Good, 4 days. So it's like next, you know, and you don't even have to wait. It'll come in time. Or not. So if you just, the work is a practice. It's a practice. It's not, you know, we can use it on, you know, as like a first aid kit. It's really powerful. But what's left will override that enlightenment. And that's true for people who have had great realizations, powerful realizations, and wonder, I lost it. Where did it go? How did that happen? And somehow I just understood immediately, in the absence of that suffering, the cause of all suffering. And it's a practice, it's a daily practice. So I invite you to that, you know, for an hour every morning, and have a great life. Imagined. But if you're not free here, you know, you're not going to see free there. Free here, free there. Problem here, problem there.